Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Public Works and Finance Committee meeting of the Moscow City Council. It's Monday, August 12th. Guys, we're almost in the middle of August already. Good Lord.
Crazy.
To my left is Councillor Blankenship. To my right is Councillor Kelly. Joining us at the table is our City Administrator, Bill Belknap. Okay, first on our agenda today is the approval of the Public Works and Finance Committee July 8th meeting minutes. What say you?
I move that we approve.
I second.
Okay, that was tough.
Hardest thing I've done all day.
Well, it's going to get worse from here. Our second item, however, coming from Sarah Decker, it'll be okay, is the disbursement report from July of 2024.
Yes. So looking at the accounts payable report for month ending July 31st, 2024, major expenditures totaled $3,211,731.84. Our largest expenditure was payroll, which was $1,415,634. And I have four major expenditures to point out. We had a payment towards the Brent Drive sewer project for $182,063.50. Booster Station Phase 2 retainage payment for $215,044.65. Lily Street reconstruction retainage payment for $97,959.66. And the A Street reconstruction project payment for $181,594.68.
Those are some big things.
Yes, lots of big payments.
Yeah, I noted it was about $1 million more, and now I know why.
Yes.
So, okay. Any questions?
Don't have any.
Okay, sounds very
Summer
good. It's
construction.
approved.
Yes. 'Tis a season.
Okay. Again, Ms. Decker, please stay with us for the open budget for fiscal year 2023 to 24.
Yes. So just to kind of give Bryce a little bit of info on the open budget, as soon as we finish up our adoption every year, right before we head into our fiscal year, we have an open budget that we look at our appropriations, and it can be from our previous fiscal year or our current budget year. And if there's any changes that need to be made for appropriation purposes, we bring it forward in an open budget. We did not have an open budget last year, but we do have one now. This year, we are looking at three changes totaling about $2,510,000 that are being recommended for the 24 open budget process. And these are in anticipation of the public hearing meeting scheduled on August 19th. The three funds affected are General Fund, Sanitation Fund, and Information Systems. For General Fund, when we ended our FY23 fiscal year end, we had an unanticipated and unappropriated remaining fund balance of about $1.9 million. And this was due to several expenditures, but there's four to point out along with two revenues. Moscow PD ended FY23 with several vacant positions, which created a deficit in salaries for about $700,000. Community Development ended FY23 with vacant engineering positions, which totaled about $250,000. Within finance, we held back our accounting 2 position, and that was about $160,000. Affordable housing had approximately $160,000 budgeted, and there was no expense from that. And then on the revenue side, we remain conservative in our investment income estimations for 23, and we were surprised to see that come in about $217,000 over estimation, which is great.
That is good.
And then refunds and reimbursements, that's kind of one that goes up and down every year, but last year ended with an excess of $275,250.
Wow.
So that is really what makes up almost the whole total of the 1.9 million. So in anticipation for fiscal year end, we are requesting to increase our appropriation of 1 million because we have the 900,000 in capacity, but we need that 1 million to be able to move in the fund balance from FY23. And because it's one-time funds, we'll move it into the general fund, and then at fiscal year end, we'll move it to the capital where one-time funds have to sit. And those funds are actually already appropriated within the FY25 budget for capital in the beginning fund balance.
So it was already accounted for, but we just need to approve it kind of retroactively?
So it's because we don't currently have, our budget authority doesn't allow it.
Okay.
And we have to be able to move it in before we can move it to capital for 25. So it is appropriated with anticipation of being able to move it in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we had anticipated the revenues as being fund balance from the FY25 budget development.
Okay. Thanks for walking me through that.
And we talked about that during the budget workshop
Yeah.
on July
Yeah, okay.
9th.
But this is where it's all coming from.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
And so for the sanitation fund, we have been accumulating some unanticipated fund balances within sanitation due to standard revenue over expense. And we were having it sit there because we had the post-closure landfill project coming up. We weren't sure how much was going to have to be expensed out of the operation fund versus the capital fund. Well, we received in FY24 the estimate for $3,591,476, which is clearly a capital expense. And where this post-closure project needs to sit is in sanitation capital. So we're looking to move those funds, increase the appropriation by that $1,465,000. Increase the appropriation in sanitation for that to be able to move it at year end into sanitation capital, which you do already see that sitting in the FY25 budget in the post-closure. And then information systems, we received a grant award this year, and I'm actually going to read this one. The Idaho Transportation Office of Highway Safety receives Grant Highway Safety Administration. This funding is used to support grant programs and activities identified in the Highway Safety Plan to assist local government agencies. Information Systems was awarded $45,000 on behalf of the Moscow PD to purchase electronic ticketing equipment to replace existing outdated units and purchase 11 units for police vehicles. This grant funding will be receipted into the Information Systems federal grants line and then will be expensed out of the Information Systems minor equipment public safety. And so we would need just to increase the appropriation to accept that.
That's nice, because we've been waiting on that one, right?
The council already accepted that grant
Yeah.
award. If you may recall, we came back to the council because we applied for more units than we had anticipated
okay.
that council had initially authorized. So that was probably maybe 6 weeks ago that we actually, the council formally accepted that grant award. So we'll just have to have the appropriation authority to receive those funds and then to purchase those units that weren't anticipated at the time that the FY24 budget was prepared.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I don't. That was very helpful.
Okay. Got to go on regular, right?
Correct.
Because
It has to be
it's
public
an
hearing. So it's just like, this is just an amendment. So we have to go through the same process as the council went through in the initial adoption of the budget. So it's the same process. We'll hold a public hearing. Sarah will give a presentation just on what the changes are, and why we're making those changes. You have to have a public hearing, take public comment, and then it's up to the council to approve the updated modified appropriation ordinance.
Okay, awesome. All right,
All right.
Cool.
See you soon.
thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Our next item is the Latah County Library District Building Lease Agreement Extension. David Schott, hello.
Well, good afternoon.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a lot of words. Tired.
So in 2014, the city entered into an agreement with the Latah County Library District. This lease agreement was a 10-year term, which it expires here at the end of September 30th, 2024. The proposed amendment of the agreement will extend this term another year, so September 30th, 2025. All the other terms of the agreement shall be in full force and effect. The reason for this is the Latah County Library Board of Trustees had hired a new director that's in our audience today, April Hernandez. She started on July 18th, and kind of get her settled in before we look at the partnership for another 10 years with the city and the district. We've had a great partnership since I've been here, at least the last 8 years. And so I look forward to continuing that. But we just wanted to give her a little time to get settled in.
That's
So
nice.
that's what we have before you. And then if I could take the opportunity, if April would like to come up and
Yeah.
introduce herself
Yeah, please do.
for a minute.
Please do.
Come on up. Hello.
Hello, everyone. April from Kansas.
Hey, we're in Kansas.
I was born and raised in Southeast Kansas, but I was in Wichita.
All right. I'm from Kansas City.
Ah,
My grandma was from Chanute.
I lived in Chanute for over 20 years. That's
Holy
where I raised
moly.
my children.
Holy moly.
I was born in Fort Scott.
Holy moly. All right. There you go. That's awesome.
And I have been here before. I worked at Sandpoint branch of East Bonner County about 10 years ago. So
Okay,
this
great.
is my second time in the state. Hopefully this time it sticks 'cause I enjoy
Yes.
it.
Good.
Yeah.
And I look forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, likewise.
Nice.
Thank you.
Welcome. Re-welcome.
Thanks for indulging that Chanute connection. That's wild.
Okay, any questions?
I think my only question that got answered was why just 1 year, but that
Yep.
all
Yep.
makes sense.
That's a
So,
great reason.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so let's put this on the consent.
Mhm.
And how, do we have a feeling about recommending or
I
not?
recommend.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to recommend approval on consent.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
yeah,
afternoon.
thanks, David.
Okay, we're going to end the day with a bang here. Tyler, Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee Memorandum of Agreement, Tyler Palmer.
Well, happy to be here, Madam Chair, councilors. This one was a fun one and a long time in the making. As you may expect, and as both Sandra and Gina, who've helped on PBAC, know, sometimes an entity with 6 different governmental entities, a patchwork quilt of governance, can be an effective mechanism for cooperating, but it can also make things like this very difficult. And so when you're running through 6 different staff, 6 different legal departments, trying to keep everything on pace. We have the Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee has operated under an interagency agreement for quite some time. It expired last August. We put into place a memorandum of agreement that would buy us another year as we worked through a comprehensive update to that agreement. With huge thanks to Mia and our legal department, who really did the lion's share of the drafting of this and helped us shepherd this through. We have gotten through that process, and we have an updated agreement, and that is what is before you. So the updated agreement doesn't have any real earth-shattering changes. It clarifies several things that needed clarification. There were some components to both the agreement and to the bylaws that needed clarification. Just small things like what constitutes a quorum, what happens if an entity withdraws, language cleanup, but there's nothing that really significantly shifts responsibilities and roles within the organization. This is a 10-year term. The title has been changed to interstate agreement. And so really with that, I'm happy to try and answer any questions you might have. Our steps in this process are obviously every entity's approval through their respective governing bodies. On our side of the border, after execution, it will be sent down to the Attorney General's office for the state. They have to approve any interstate agreements of this sort, and that they have a 30-day process to go through and determine if that's something that they will approve, or if they don't take any action in that 30 days, then approval is assumed. The City of Pullman City Council sees this tomorrow. We're running through today. Both counties are running it through their processes, and so are the universities.
Great. So it's kind of in tandem almost, it seems
It's in
like.
tandem. Everybody's running it through right now with hopes of getting this through, getting it agreed to, and getting it out the door so that we can keep moving forward. We've got a lot of exciting things happening right now with the Aquifer Committee. We've got our request for qualifications that we're ready to put out. So we want to make sure that we have this in place so that we can just continue our work.
My only question on it, and not quite exactly sure how to phrase it, but I know that it's the PBAC has really kind of entered the last year and a half, 2 years, sort of a new area of working within each state individually for some different projects. I think that's the right way to put that. With a 10-year memorandum, do you see that as more of a help, because we may have to have like Idaho go through their own systems, Washington go through their own system, and sometimes work independently and then come back as a committee? Or I got a little lost. It's not being on it all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. That's a really good question, Councilor Kelly. Initially, there was a 20-year term proposed. U of I's legal counsel wasn't comfortable with that long of a term, and they had proposed potentially a 3-year term. When we looked at the 3-year term, after the pain that we went through to get through this, and the idea of trying to do that every 3 years seemed like something that nobody was all that interested in, and so 10 years was something that we came to an agreement on. You are correct that as we are getting into these projects, we've had several in the last couple of years that, for example, the city of Moscow has acted as the contracting entity for that. Most recently, the RFQ that we are preparing to further our work with the alternate supply study. That is, for example, funded by the Idaho Water Resource Board, and they will not grant funds to PBAC. They need to grant it to an Idaho governmental
Yeah.
entity. And so we will likely continue to have those sorts of things as the different state funding mechanisms or federal funding mechanisms just go through their processes. So there will be times where, in PBAC, even with this agreement, it's an agreement that lays out the parameters under which we cooperate. It is not a separate legal entity. It doesn't receive the grant funds
Right.
directly or those sorts of things. And so there will still be a need to have the distinct entities run projects and have PBAC just be that mechanism for cooperation.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when I was getting more familiar with PBAC, I think it's just so impressive, all the stakeholders that are involved and just kind of the way that we're all working, or you all are working, we're all working together to try to, again, work towards this issue and work towards the solution and solutions. And I think it's great.
I like 10 years
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
Mhm.
And really with the trajectory that we're on, I think that it could be a very different landscape in 10 years. And so it'll be fun. Yeah.
good. That's exciting.
Agreed. Can we put this on consent?
If we can.
Do we want to recommend approval?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Mr. Belknap, do you have anything for us?
That is it.
Okay, what do you
today.
think, guys?
There was about a 0.1% chance that I thought that I was going to mention my mom's hometown of Chanute, Kansas in this Public Work and Finance Committee. So it just shows that anything can really happen.
I'm tickled about that.
I am tickled about that. I'm gonna call my mom and tell her to watch this 16-minute meeting, just so she can know that we talked about her hometown and where I spent many summers at that pool. I remember that slide very, very vividly. Dang it!
Yeah, they redid that.
All right.
Good,
Yeah.
good, I think.
So anyway, I feel
It's a
good.
great
Yeah.
meeting.
That's awesome. All right, on that note, we wait 4 seconds and we'll adjourn at 17 minutes after 4.
Right on.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.